Hello everyone, onlydraven here again, and thank you so much for tuning in to this very special episode. This week is my 6-month post-op anniversary. I've been on the entire process now for just a little over 9 months, but in 2 days I am 6 months post-op. So this week we're going to talk about, of course, how the week went as normal. We're kind of reflect back on exactly how the past 6 months went, what I've learned, some of the experiences I've had, and some of the surprises that I've gone through this entire process. I'm also going to be sharing with you some new progress photos. Normally I post those just on my website, but with this being a special anniversary, I'm going to go ahead and put those right in this video as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. Other than that, thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate everyone who follows in every week. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel so that way you can see all these videos as they come out. And keep up with all of the goings on, if you will. 3 more months, and I'm at the 1-year mark since I started this whole adventure, and I am making some pretty good progress. So let's get talking about that progress and step right into our weekly check-in. All right, so moving right along into the weekly check-in this week. Another successful week, which I was very happy to have. It's always good to have a good week. Redundant, but yes. And I'm excited to say that this week was a success as well. Any week where I basically lose weight or even stay the same, I consider a success. Of course, the more you lose, the better off you are. But with all the changes and stuff you go through, there's some weeks where, while your weight may not change, you still may have physical changes that you experience anyways. But I had a weight loss week, and this week I successfully lost 3 more pounds. So staying consistent with last week. That puts me down a total of 176 pounds at the 9-month mark or 6-month post-op, which is where we are now. I had my surgery on March 29th, 2017. Today is September 27th, 2017. So I'm 2 days shy, but that's close enough since I put these out on Wednesdays. So that's great. 3 pounds down, 176 total. That means I have 24 pounds to go to be down 200. So I have 24 pounds in 3 months to have lost 200 pounds by the 1-year mark. Again, not 1 year surgery, but 1 year since I started this entire adventure. I consider day 1 December 19th, 2016, which is the day that I first met with Dr. Williams, who was my surgeon. So when we went in with him and we talked about the different surgery options, I'd already been to a seminar at that point. The New Life Center for Bariatric, that's who I'm through. And they have a free seminar, and they run them all the time. And I went and I saw all the different surgical options that they offered. But from that day, I knew that the BPD-DS, biliary, which is what I had, I knew that was going to be the surgery for me. Not only was it not only did it have the highest success rate with the highest amount of weight loss, it also was permanent. I mean, I knew it was something that once I had it, I couldn't go back on it. And I wanted that. I wanted a permanent change. Because as I've talked about in previous videos, I need that structure. I need something to help keep me in line because my willpower was just not strong enough to do it myself. So December 19th, I went in and I met with Dr. Williams. That's Dr. Williams. Post his picture up here for you. Dr. Williams. I am very, very happy with this guy. Not only did he do my surgery, it was an amazing procedure, but he was incredibly supportive, and he and his whole team have helped me through this entire process with guidance, advice. Anytime I've had a question, I've called, and they get back with me right away. Very supportive. I mean, help me celebrate my goals and such. And it's been an amazing experience to be part of that team. But it's Dr. Williams was my surgeon. Dr. Boyce is another surgeon in that office. The two of them, it's their practice. But Dr. Williams was mine, and the dude changed my life. You know, I can't thank him enough. I know the first step was mine. I had to admit that I had the problem and I needed to step into it. But without his help and without the support of his team, there's just no way I could have been as successful as I am at this point. 176 pounds in 9 months. That's a hell of weight. Half the people I know don't weigh 176 pounds. I have lost a full physical person from my body. A couple short people, several children at this point have been physically removed from my body. I am half the man I used to be. If I wouldn't get sued, I'd cue that song right now, just so I could, hammer that point in. But let's kind of talk about the last 6 months. I started at 431 pounds. As I've mentioned before, I almost had a stroke in early 2016. It was very close. I got put on blood pressure medicine. I was given a limited amount of time to lose weight, or my primary care doctor, Dr. Lenore, who's in my hometown here of Oak Ridge, Tennessee. That's where I live now. He was like, listen, you got to lose 50 pounds within 6 months or you could die. And I went back 6 months later, and I was fucking bigger than I was when I started. And I cried. I mean, I broke into tears. I was like, I don't have the strength to do this myself. I need help. I think I need surgery. And he just smiled. I mean, he was like, yeah. He goes, I think that's the right decision. I think we need to do. So he set me up and referred me to Dr. Williams' office and set up the seminar for me. I had the seminar. I called and made the appointment to meet Dr. Williams very soon after that, and was back in there meeting him December 19th. And on that day, they weighed me with no shoes on, and because that's important, no shoes. And on that day, I weighed 431 pounds. I was a hungry hippo, a big dude, and it was not pretty. It's not a happy thing to talk about that. It's hard to admit when you have a problem. Any type of addiction, food addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, any type of addiction is hard to talk about. It's even harder to admit or accept that you have the problem. So Dr. Williams was very supportive right off the bat, asked me what surgery I thought I needed. I told him the BPDDS. He immediately was like, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. He talked about it, gave me all the details, and before I left, he put me on the path to where I am now. Had the surgery 3 months later on March 29th, and I'd lost 65 pounds in the pre-op diet, followed every single step and rule they gave me to the letter. It was important to me to be as accurate as possible. Again, when given that structure, when given those guidelines, I can excel. When I've got someone watching me or someone saying, hey, do this, now do this, then I can nail that. As a person, in a group of friends and such, I find myself very often in a leadership role, deciding what we're going to do or setting things up and things. But when it comes to even my own personal issues, I've got to follow. I need someone to show me the path. And you show me the path and I'll walk it. And I've done just that. I have walked it and towed that line the entire process. And I think I contribute that to the fact that I've had such a great success in this entire situation. Dr. Williams got me going, but he put the tools in my hand and I had to use them. And I did. And I followed that, lost 65 pounds in the pre-op diet in a little over 3 months before my surgery. And then I've lost, 100 plus since. So, phenomenal experience. Still have a ways to go. As I've mentioned, losing that 176 puts me down. Right now I'm at 75? Or no, it's not 75, 55. I'm at 155 pounds. So I've got 55 pounds to hit the original goal I set for myself, which was 200 pounds. That was my original end goal. That's not to say I want to adjust the line. Maybe go a little less, maybe go a little more, depending on if I build muscle or if I feel like I want to lose a little bit more. That's a determination I'll have to make when I get, closer to that actual, number. But 200 is my original goal. To hit 200 would be frickin' amazing. I had someone ask me last night, my cousin-in-law. She actually said to me, she's like, is this the smallest you've been as an adult? And the answer is yes. 175 was always the lowest 275 was always the lowest I could get on my own. And I shot past that a month or so ago. So I am now smaller, I weigh close to what I did in early high school, shooting for even less. Because in high school I was a chunky guy, but I wasn't quite the size I was when I started all this. So let's talk about progress photos. If you go to my website, here I'll put it at the bottom as I always do, www.onlydraven.com. You can go to a page and see all my progress photos since this started. At the beginning they were several months apart, but since the surgery I've been doing them every month. So feel free to check those out. But to talk about my progress the last 6 months, or 9 months really, I'm going to show you what I looked like before the surgery, when I started this entire process. Again, took this picture day 1. That's this guy. On the right, your left-hand side of the screen, this side of the screen, this is what I looked like when I started the entire process. And this was my photo from last night. That photo was taken on the 26th of September 2017. Now just to switch that up a little bit, here's the side view of what I looked like originally. And then here is what I looked like now. When I look in the mirror a lot, I have a hard time seeing the difference sometimes because you see yourself every day. But looking at these pictures last night, it was amazing to feel and just see such a size difference from where I was before. So that's a big change. So if you'd like to see all of my progress photos down the line, steps, I do one pretty much every month at this point in the same way. I do forward and profile view. Again, go to my website and you can see all those. These pictures, the new ones, will be up on there as well. I'll post those again today. But that's where I started. You know, who knows where I'll end up? Still got a long ways to go. I feel, you know, really the rate I'm losing, not so much, but I still feel like I've got a lot of work to do. Yeah, so that's kind of the last 6 months in a nutshell, just kind of the process. We're going to go ahead and move into our next segment where we talk about some of the things I've learned in this situation. So 6 months post-op, that is a long period of time. And in 6 months, there's been a lot of changes in my life, especially in my diet, how I eat, how I drink, how much, when, where, what, you know, all that kind of business, as well as just how I live my life in general. So I'm going to kind of talk about how that changed. For my surgery, under my surgeon's care, and under the care of my nutritionist, for the first 2 weeks after my surgery, I was on an all liquids diet. 64 ounces of liquid a day. I had a certain, you know, goals that I had to hit, you know, it came to carbs and fats and all that kind of things, proteins, so on. So protein shakes, I had protein soups, I had light fruit juices, water, of course, G2, which is a lighter form of Gatorade, not as carb heavy. A lot of liquids for the first 2 weeks, and that's it, nothing solid, which was not as hard as I thought it would be to go 2 weeks without food. I thought that it would be hard to do that. That was not the challenge. The challenge was getting the liquids in because you can only drink a very small amount. Your stomach's tiny at that point. So I was getting in 1 to 2 ounces every 15 minutes. And I had to drink every 15 minutes or I wasn't going to get my liquids in for the day. With a tiny stomach, you can't chug a bunch of liquid later and make up for it. You just can't physically do that. So I was, from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, I had a timer. I sat at my desk almost all day. I drank my 1 to 2 ounces of liquid, had a little measuring glass that I drank it out of, and I just did that nonstop. Not to mention a huge amount of medications that I was on for gallstones, acid reflux, painkillers, of course, for the post-surgery, as well as vitamins and things of that nature. So there was a lot of medication going on, so there was a lot to juggle. Then after that 2 weeks, I moved to phase 2 of the diet. Phase 2 was soft and pureed foods. And that was still, again, same liquid requirements, still drinking every 15 minutes, but I couldn't drink for 30 minutes before my meal, during my meal, or 30 minutes after my meal, which meant I had to be even more on top of my liquids. By this point, I was able to drink at least 2 ounces every 15 minutes, so it made it a bit easier because I could take in a little bit more. But my meals consisted mostly of cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. I did, what the hell was after that? I did refried beans, low-fat refried beans, a little bit of light shredded cheese on that. Those were okay. So that was a large, and soup, of course, still did the protein soups as my meals. But that was pretty much it. Soft stuff for another 2 weeks. And again, not hard. It was so nice to be able to get, especially the refried beans. Those were just delicious. You know, I haven't touched them since that phase of the diet, surprisingly. They were really good, but I found them to be very heavy in my stomach. So I didn't really eat them much after that. I have to have some refried beans here in the near future. So then there was phase 3 after that 2 weeks. So after 1 month, went back to my nutritionist. That's when I jumped on to phase 3. Now phase 3 was soft foods. Now soft foods consist of a lot of different things. Again, I could add in ground beef, but that was the only red meat I could have. I could have fish, and I could have pork. white meats and things. A little bit more firmer stuff. I couldn't have any, hard vegetables or anything like that. And of course I still can't eat potatoes and things. No pastas, all that stuff's gone. All the heavy carb stuff's out of my diet pretty much permanently. But I jumped into that phase, and I really implemented tuna at that point. Tuna became a big thing for me. Did a lot of that, and chicken stuff, and I shredded up real well. I know a lot of times I tried to puree it, but the pureeing, I just couldn't handle the texture. So I just shredded up really well, made sure it was well chewed before I ate it. Same situation with the liquids. Couldn't drink for 30 minutes after. Still can't, even on the final phase. But I did that for a couple months. I did it for several months, actually. And then finally, after that, I got to move to phase 4, which is the final phase of the diet where I am now. Now I can eat most anything, as long as they're within my protein, carbs, and fat goal. Protein, again, right now I'm over 175 grams protein a day, between 30 and 60 grams of carbs, and 30 or less grams of fat. Fat being the biggest struggle at this point. I'm managing to get my protein in. Carbs, for me, are not a problem. It's most people's struggle, I find. But I'm not having a problem staying under that. I don't eat much carb food at all. But getting rid of the carbs, it's made me struggle with fats, because there's a lot of things that are high protein but still have a bunch of fat in them. Bacon, for example, which I haven't had in a long time. I miss bacon. Who doesn't miss bacon? Even if you can eat bacon every day, you still miss bacon in between. Bacon is nature's candy. But I digress. So fats, kind of out for me. That's been my struggle in this phase. I don't eat potatoes. I'm basically white starches with it on. So I stay away from potatoes, stay away from rice. I don't really eat corn. I might be able to eat corn, but I don't eat corn. I don't eat peas just because that's damn nasty. I don't eat peas or green beans. Those are disgusting. But I do eat most everything else. All the other meats, I can have steak at this point. Steak is so good. I've found a teriyaki broccoli that I enjoy. I found a high protein, low carb bread. So now I can have sandwiches. I have a lean ham sandwich quite regularly at this point. Very tasty. I enjoy that a lot. I've talked about the bread in my previous videos. But diet-wise, I'm pretty good. Now, once I finally reach my goal weight, I've already been advised by the nutritionist that at that point I'll actually have to start increasing some of that. I have to eat a little bit higher calorie food, a little bit more fattening and stuff. And at that point, just to slow down my weight loss. If I'm still trucking along at the weight loss speed that I am when I get to that goal, I'll have to eat more just to slow that down. Because, losing too much weight is just as unhealthy as being too heavy, and I don't want that either. I did this to get healthy. So I'm very conscious of that I will reach a point where I'm going to have to make some more changes to make sure that I don't continue to lose weight so that I can maintain health as well. Worst case scenario, there is a revision surgery. They can go in and they can make a minor change to the way your intestines run so that you digest a bit more. So I'm hoping to avoid that just with proper diet and exercise. So we'll see how that goes. But experiences. Everybody talked about there are things you will eat now that you did not like before, and there are things that you loved that now you won't eat or just can't. I have experienced very minimal of that experience. I do find myself enjoying broccoli more than I used to, as long as it's flavored. Just plain broccoli is boring, but as long as there's some type of flavor to it, I enjoy broccoli a lot more than I used to. I was not much of a broccoli eater. And on the flip side of that, as I mentioned, I lost mustard. Mustard upsets my stomach. Mustard was, I put on everything. I put mustard in water if I could get away with it. I didn't, though, but yeah, I would have. Mustard was delicious. I still like the taste. It doesn't make me, ill to taste it. It's just it bothers my stomach. My stomach has a hard time with that. I can eat olives, salad dressings, and things like that. I make a grilled chicken Caesar salad the other day that was divine. It was delicious. Kalamata olives in there. But I can't do mustard. So I tried honey mustard. I tried Dijon mustard, spicy mustard, just regular mustard. None of the mustards went well in my stomach. My stomach has decided it will no longer do mustard. So that was something that I lost. But I haven't had any problem eating any of the meats or any of the solids at this point. Haven't had a potato in 9 months. Don't really miss that. And missing food, and that's what I'm going to talk about last. I had someone who I spoke with recently, they asked me, do I ever get hungry? And the answer is almost never. I'm rarely hungry anymore. I eat because it's time to eat. I'm actually about 45 minutes to an hour overdue for my dinner right now because I went to the gym tonight before I filmed this video. Normally I don't go to the gym on Wednesdays, the day I make the video, because it's video day. But yesterday, unfortunately, I had to go to a doctor's appointment with a family member, and so I wasn't able to go then, so I didn't want to miss it. So I'm running a little late, but I'm not hungry now. I'm not the slightest bit hungry. I'm an hour over my mealtime, you know. I eat now because I know I'm supposed to. You know, I'm not going to say I don't ever get hungry. There are times. Sometimes when I first wake up in the morning, I feel a little hungry, or if I have an early dinner and I stay up late that night, sometimes before I go to bed, I'll start to just feel the tinge of hunger. But I do my best to continually drink and get my liquids in, 64 ounces a day. And keeping liquids in me helps keep me full. So I don't get hungry. I don't have the desire really to snack. So that's physical hunger. So then I was asked the same question, well, what about mental hunger? You know, if you're a fatty McFatty like me, then you know what mental hunger is. You know, it's when you're hungry because you see food or you think about food. You may not be physically hungry, but your mind tells you you want it. Again, an addiction, side effect of being a food addict. Seeing a commercial for Pizza Hut. You know, all of a sudden you want pizza. You may not actually be hungry, but you want pizza. I use that as an example because that's the one that always got me the most. Fucking Pizza Hut, man. God, I love Pizza Hut pizza. But I saw a Pizza Hut commercial and I'm like, I need pizza, speed dial, because, you know, I have all the pizza places on speed dial. I don't have that issue very much anymore. Once in a while, I'll be, you know, in my lunchroom at work and I'll smell something somebody made and it smells really good. Especially, if anything, I'd say pastas, since I really don't eat anything that's pasta-based anymore. The smell of pasta and the tomato sauce and the cheese smells really good. Pizza has always been my biggest weakness. It's my favorite food. But even now I see a pizza, I'm like, that would taste good. And then I move on. Like, I don't have that regret or that hunger. And it's not the same for everybody. Some folks struggle with it. I've been very, very lucky that I have not had that. I don't have days where I pine for things. And part of that is I've gone out of my way to find foods that I can eat. Find foods that fit. Tonight, I'm actually having pizza. What kind of pizza, you ask? Let me show you. This kind of pizza. Real Good Pizza Company, okay? I picked this up at Kroger's, okay? Kroger has them now in the hippie section. That would be the section with the vegan food. Ugh. But in the dirty hippie section, you can go in there, and in the freezer section, you will find Real Good Pizza Company. These are a pizza with a chicken crust. Instead of bread, it has literally a flat piece of chicken breast. It's all natural. It has pizza sauce. It's got the cheese on it. This one is a supreme pizza, so we're talking vegetables, Italian sausage, pepperoni, chicken breast, Parmesan cheese crust. It is very tasty. I enjoy these a lot. Now, I bake them in the oven, and then I throw them in a frying pan or a skillet for a few minutes to make the chicken get just a little bit more firm. Now, it's not going to taste exactly like a pizza. It's a piece of chicken. You know, but the sauce and everything on top of it is just like a pizza. Yeah, downside, $7. This thing is $6.99. Normally, they were on sale this week, so I got two. But these are a little pricey, but one of these fills me now, you know. I'm lucky to finish this. But it is very good. If you're looking to get that quick pizza flavor, this will do it. I'll give you some math on here. The fat on it is 16 grams. It's a little high in the fat. That's the number that I got to watch because I just have to make sure that my other meals of the day are low in fat so that I can eat this. Carbs, 4 grams. It's next to nothing. Proteins, 25 grams in this thing. There are 25 grams of protein in a single meal. That's phenomenal. That is the magic of meat. Meat provides me the protein. So it's pretty kick-ass. To be honest, it's only got 260 calories, really. I mean, that's half of a small cheeseburger. So, highly recommend those pizzas. They come in cheese, pepperoni, or supreme. I've had all three. I prefer pepperoni and the supreme because, of course, there's meat on them. Meat is delicious. So you can always add a little bit of extra cheese. You just got to be careful to make sure you count that into your fat count. But that is a delicious piece of pizza. And that helps fill my pizza needs. If you've seen any of my cooking videos, I've done pizza stuff in a bell pepper, pizza stuff in a mushroom. There are different ways to get those flavors that you miss without actually having to eat the individual food. So that's one thing that's helped me get over my mental hunger is finding delicious food that I can make that still fills those needs for me. So that way I'm not pining, missing that thing I can't have anymore. So that would be my advice. You know, if you're, out of all this entire situation, entire adventure, the whole weight loss, the surgery, the best piece of advice I can give you is find a positive substitute in every facet of your life. Find something. If you miss food, find something to fill that. I'm not eating, I'm playing a video game. I'm walking in a park. I'm at the gym, I'm spending time with my wife. Find something, a positive substitute, to take the place of the thing that you feel you're losing. I'm losing real pizza, I found a delicious substitute pizza. I lose mashed potatoes, I found mashed cauliflower. Now sometimes you're not getting exactly what it was, but there's something out there that's going to be close. Hell, sometimes I find it's better. But find a positive substitute. Don't just say, it doesn't exist, I can't have it anymore. Something out there is going to come close. Something's going to fulfill that desire that you think that you're missing. And if you can find that positive, you won't go back to the negative. So that would be probably the best piece of advice, and the number one thing I've learned in this entire 6-month experience is find a positive substitute in every facet of your weight loss adventure. Find something to fill that void that you think you're losing. Because very often you're not losing much. You're not losing anything what you think you are. If anything, you're losing weight, and that is worth it. Losing weight, you are gaining health. So every positive change you can make is only going to benefit you. So find that positive substitute. So with that, I'm going to call it quits for the day. It's been a little bit longer than normal, but it was a special occasion. So thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. Please go to my website, check it out so you can see all my videos. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my video if you enjoyed it. It helps me out a lot. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week, where we will talk about the actual new gym experience I've had, or gym experiences from the viewpoint of a noob. Have a good week.